Hello, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me today. Welcome to another episode of An Older Gay Guy Show. Today, I wanted to talk to you about something serious. All of us at different times in our lives, but pretty much everybody encounters depression. And sometimes that depression can be debilitating. We can get to a point where we don't want to do anything. We just want to stay in bed and forget about the world. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So let me start out by saying I am not a doctor. I am not a therapist. I don't try to pretend to be that. But I do go through certain things, especially with mental health. And I just want to tell you what has worked for me with depression. It may not work for you, it may not be the thing that helps you, but it's worth a try because sometimes depression can just wipe out our lives. My depressions are pretty serious when I get them. Fortunately, I am on medication. I am seeing a psychiatrist. I have for years. If you have chronic depression, you really should seek some professional help about it. The first step is to get evaluated. But my depression, I've learned how to deal with it. I know that it's coming at times, and I know that there are triggers that get this depression going. And a little bit of history of what I have gone through lately that brought me to my depression. Through the end of the summer and into early fall, there was a growth underneath my tongue, on the bottom side of my tongue. And it wasn't getting larger, but it wasn't going away. And I was trying saltwater rinses. I was trying a medicated mouth rinse to try to alleviate it. Nothing was working. So I went to my doctor and I couldn't get an appointment with my doctor. So I ended up seeing this different doctor who said she didn't know what it was, but it wasn't cancer. So then I went to my regular doctor and I said, it's not getting any better. And he said, well, I don't know what it is, and I can't tell you that it's not cancer. I'm going to give you this mouth rinse. It's a little bit stronger, and there's also a paste you're going to put on. And if it's not better in 4 weeks, I want you to go see an ear, nose, and throat specialist. So I went along the month and tried it all. Nothing was changing it at all. So I set up an appointment with the ear, nose, and throat. I went in and they said, well, why don't we remove it and we'll biopsy it. So they took it out, and at that time it was a small cut and they had to stitch me up a little bit. My tongue was swollen for a couple days. I talked funny for a couple days, but then my mouth healed. I went back in 2 weeks later and they told me that it was in fact cancer. And this is my second time that I've had cancer. It's in a different location, but it was the exact same kind. It was a squamous cell carcinoma. Just to be safe, they wanted to wait until my mouth healed and then go back in and cut the borders more to make sure that there was no cancer that they missed under my tongue. And they also wanted me to have a CAT scan for my lymph nodes, a few other tests. I went through all of that. And on November 2nd, I went in and it was a full under anesthesia in the operating room operation where they cut out a rather large section underneath my tongue. And they had to stitch that all up. So they did a biopsy on what they had cut out at that time. They said to me, hey, we are quite sure we got all of it out of your tongue. Your lymph nodes are fine. We want you to come in for checks every 3 months and then 6 months and then a year because we want to keep on top of this and make sure that that cancer does not come back. So I went home the same day. The 2 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks after that, my tongue swelled up so much that I couldn't talk. I couldn't eat. All I could do was suck some liquids. After about a week, the swelling was down enough that I could speak, but I spoke like this because my tongue was still swollen. As time went along, it took about 6 to 8 weeks before I started to feel somewhat normal. It's now been almost 3 months and my tongue has healed. And just because I've received some messages and emails from people that were interested in what this was all about, I'm going to show you the section of my tongue that is missing. And if you don't want to see it, and you may not want to see it, I will tell you when you can look back. But I'll tell you to look away right now, and I'm going to do a close-up of my tongue. From there to there. It's healed up, but it's missing. Okay, you can look back again if you had looked away. So it's a pretty big section of my tongue that's missing. And as it healed, I knew that obviously there was going to be a cutout in my tongue. It's not noticeable really when I stick out my tongue. There's just a little zigzag on the side of my tongue. But as it healed, there were some changes that I didn't realize were going to happen. The first one is that I have a numbness through that area because obviously they cut the nerves, I guess, when they took that chunk of tongue out. There was some nerves in it and it's pretty numb in that area of my tongue, which is weird feeling, but it's nothing that's awful. The second thing is it took out some of my taste buds along my tongue. Food and drink tastes somewhat different to me now. I think it is something that I will get used to. I don't think that that area will regenerate where I will have taste buds again. Possibly my nerves might come back at some point, but I think I'm pretty much having to get used to this new way of tasting. So between the numbness and this lack of taste, I got really depressed as my tongue healed. And I stopped doing everything that I enjoy doing. I stopped going to the gym. I stopped doing podcasts, partially because I couldn't speak very well. I wasn't doing any videos during that time. And I realized that it was getting out of hand when I went 3 weeks. I was solely in my house. I didn't go anywhere. I didn't even go to the grocery store. I went nowhere. And I realized that that was a problem. So I had to come up with a plan of, okay, how am I going to deal with this depression? I'm not enjoying the things that I used to enjoy. I'm not socializing. I'm not getting myself out of the house at all. So what I did is think of the most favorite thing that you do, not something that you've always dreamed of, because that might be attainable, it might not be attainable, but something that you really enjoy, your favorite thing to do that you currently do, with an exception of you like to stay home and just veg. That's when you work a lot, you get out a lot. That's when home is like, oh, thank God I'm home. But when you're locked in here and you don't want to leave, don't choose staying home as your favorite thing to do. So starting with the thing that you love doing, the thing that you always try to do every time that you get some spare time, work with that. So for me, it was going to the gym. Every single time I go to the gym, when I leave, I feel awesome. It is so invigorating to me. I feel like I've accomplished things. I feel like I'm healthy. I feel like the blood is flowing and I have a glow about me. So I forced myself to get in the car and drive to the gym. And I'm going to play a couple of clips now of before I went into the gym and after the gym. And then I'll be back. Hey guys, so I just backed into a parking spot here at the gym and I'm ready to go back in. It would be very easy for me to blow it off. It would be very easy for me to say, okay, I'll go tomorrow. It's now January 21st, and I had to deal with my surgery for a couple of months, and then I had to deal with the depression that has gone on with it. So for me to go back in now is really difficult. I don't feel like I should be there. I feel out of shape. I feel somewhat overweight. I feel like I should be in better shape before I go, which is crazy if you think about it, because you go to the gym to get in shape. So why would you not want to go no matter what your shape is? It's like people who might clean their house before a housekeeping service comes in to clean, because you don't want them to know how bad you got. Well, same thing with the body and me going back in. I don't want people to know how bad I got. But the only way I'm going to improve is for me to push past this resistance that I have. No more tomorrow. No more tomorrow. It's got to be today. I'm going to do this. And I'll let you know how it goes. Thanks, by the way, for being here with me. It's nice to know that my journey to do this and the things that I go through in order to push myself, that you are here, that you might be able to relate a bit to. So thanks for being here. Thanks, guys. Bye. All right, so that was awesome. I did some weights, not much, just enough to get me going for my ligaments and tendons to get used to doing the movements again. I did fairly decent weight though. And then I went upstairs, I did a little bit of cardio. I did about 20 minutes, burned about 200 calories, not a huge amount. I feel I accomplished something because I pushed through that depression. I'm psyched. I'm so psyched. I'm gonna be back tomorrow for sure. I'm going to aim to try to get here by 11 o'clock tomorrow. I'm really hoping that my depression is going to be gone now, despite how weird my tongue feels. That's just life, I guess. So, okay, I'm going to head off, and I will be back in just... Ow, I just bit my fucking tongue. Okay, so as you can see, I was super happy once I got myself into the gym. And it didn't matter that I only did a little bit. I did a little bit of weightlifting. I did a little bit of cardio. The sauna was broken, so I did a little bit of the steam room, and then I showered, and then I was ready to go home, feeling invigorated and happy, like I had energy coming out my ears. And it began to lift that depression a little bit. So then I said, okay, what is my second favorite thing to do? And that is to socialize, to go out and see friends. So I made a point of getting in touch with my friends. I said, hey, I've been depressed, just so you know. I'm working through it, but I'd really like to socialize. Let's get a gang of people together and let's do something. Don't think of it as you're trying to get me undepressed. I just wanted you to know that I am dragging myself out of my house to do this. And once I got together with my friends and we had a few drinks and we had some laughter going, again, that depression lifted a little bit more. Then the next day I went back to the gym, now doing a little bit more than I had done the previous time to the gym. And slowly my depression was lifting because I was concentrating on the good feelings I was getting, not concentrating on the negative feelings. Now, I know that that is a very difficult thing to do. I'm not saying that lightly. Not everybody can just go, oh, okay, well, I'm depressed, but I won't think about bad things. I'll just be happy. It doesn't work that way. You have to kind of drag yourself into these situations that you love and just realize that, yeah, through all my depression, all of this is what I've missed, and I want to get back to this. So it gives you some incentive to begin to pull yourself out of the depression. As we age, if we are not partnered, and most gay men are not partnered when they're over 50, it gets harder and harder to be happy, to be enthusiastic, to do things. So while that may not be a depression unto itself, it is something that you need to address and try to work through. So I'll be addressing that in videos periodically. If I do new things or I learn new techniques, I'm going to share them with you as well. I am back now doing podcasts, and I am back now doing videos for this channel. I am back to the gym, and I cannot wait to show you the changes that are going to be occurring. Please check out An Older Gay Guy Show podcast because I'm on there all the time. Subscribe if you haven't, and give me a thumbs up on this video if you did like it. And I will be back again with a new video in just a few days. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye for now.